I first learned from one of my patients who happened to be the owner of Transformations, and he was one of my patients in my chiropractic practice, and he approached me about possibly adding chiropractic services, maybe holistic medicine to his treatment center, and see if it would have a better impact, on his clients. See if we could somehow get them feeling better faster, making them fulfill, complete their program and so forth. And so that's pretty much how it all began. Here I am the chiropractor, and of course I practice holistic medicine. And my job here is to try to help the clients feel better as quickly as possible. They come in, they have a vast array of nutritional needs. Nutrition is probably the last thing on their mind while they've been abusing drugs and alcohol. They typically have been getting by on Cheetos and Mountain Dew, and it's just not quite enough to sustain the body. So we have to restore a lot of body systems. We've got to get our brain chemistry back in place, which is certainly the #1 objective. The drugs and alcohol wipe out key chemicals in the brain, and until those are properly restored, they're just not going to feel better, they're not going to sleep better, anxiety levels are going to be higher, they're going to want to go home because they don't feel very well. So the faster we can get them feeling better, the more likely they are to complete the program, and the more likely they are to be less of a problem for the rest of the community here. It has just been phenomenal, the growth that I've witnessed, not only in the staff, but the clients as well. It's like, when we first started off, there was a lot of uncertainty, and no one really knew what their role was, but now the passion here is great. There's a tremendous love between the employees and the clients. You can constantly see it. It's the constant strive that the owner puts in, and of course the executive staff too. Constant drive to improve and improve morale, mood, and everything else. Mostly what I do is just the chiropractic work and of course the nutritional needs of each client. I do provide a lecture each week. I talk to various groups. I talk to the guys separately, the girls separately, and to talk to them about what their lifestyle should be when they leave here. But typically I'll see every client that's here. I'll see at least once a week. Sometimes I'll see some of them twice a week depending on their needs, or if they have pain or so forth, or their nutritional needs. We call it Transformations, and it really is Transformations for a reason, because when the clients first get here, I actually have the opportunity to see them at detox as well in some cases, and to follow them through that whole process. So it's really exciting for me and gratifying and incredibly rewarding for me to watch them go from this point to where they can barely function, barely pronounce their name, and to finally leave as a thriving individual where all of their faculties come back, their hormones come back, and it's just an exciting thing for me. We can see a big difference in the clients that follow my program to the T versus those that don't. There's always going to be a few clients that come in that are strictly just doing their time. So the contrast between the clients that are here to get better and to follow the protocol that we do is just enormous. It's such a drastic, dramatic change between the two groups. It's very rewarding for me to see that. So. Well, the difference between a personal trainer and maybe one of the personal therapists here, it is very similar, because the personal trainer is working with basically the body and a physical aspect, where here the therapist is working with the body and the mental aspect. So you have to have both areas working properly. You can't just be, work physically, you have to improve your mental status as well. And the two of those are very closely related, because if you have a healthy physical body, you're going to have a healthy physical mind, and vice versa. You can't have one without the other. So I think it's incredibly important to actually work both those avenues. We have to work the physical aspects and the mental aspects as well. And nutrition, of course, plays a gigantic role, because your brain can't be healthy unless you're feeding it properly and giving it the nutrition that it needs. In order to restore the proper brain chemistry, we have to use certain nutrients. Basically, drug addiction, alcohol addiction, no matter, even substance abuse, no matter if it's sexual abuse, even if there's no drugs involved, still involves brain chemistry. It affects serotonin, it affects dopamine. Serotonin and dopamine are the two main chemicals that run the brain. Dopamine provides motivation and energy for the brain. Serotonin provides rest, relaxation, and happy thoughts for the brain. So one of the addictions, all the addictions are going to involve one of those hormones or another. Some deplete dopamine more, some deplete serotonin more. So ideally we have to start raising those chemicals back as soon as possible. Now the only way we can really do that is to provide the person with the right amino acids that'll start producing those chemicals back. Amino acids are the building blocks for dopamine and serotonin and all the body's hormones. Drugs, for instance, do not raise serotonin levels. They only can deplete them. They can make the body think that they're there, but they're never going to restore those drugs back to normal. So as long as a person is using a drug, whether it's a pharmaceutical drug they're never going to get those hormones back to normal. So they have to be restored. They have to take the right amino acids. We have formulated several products to do that. Specifically, we have products that will raise serotonin and dopamine, and we have products that will raise both, at the same time. Relapse is always going to be a problem for a lot of people. The big problem with relapse is that most of the clients don't realize how sensitive their brain is to whatever drug or substance they were using. And one thing I try to emphasize here in my lectures is how sensitive the brain receptors are to that drug and alcohol. So a little tiny bit is all it takes to re-trigger that whole mechanism. So it's critically important that they stay on the protocol that we give them, to try to get the brain chemicals back to normal, and also avoid certain activities that they know are going to be detrimental to their, or cause them to start using again. They have to eat properly, they have to exercise properly, they've got to do other things that they were doing, normal things that they were doing, and avoid those situations that would lead back to their addiction. But the key thing is they have to understand how sensitive the brain receptor sites are and how long it takes for that to happen to get back to normal. I would say to choose Transformations over any other facility just because of some of the things I've just said. I mean, we strive to restore brain chemistry, and until you get the brain chemistry restored, you're never going to resolve that addiction. It may not just be brain chemistry that's restored. It could be a problem with another hormone in the body. It could be an adrenal problem. It could be a problem with the thyroid gland. It could be a testosterone or estrogen problem. Multiple things can cause a person to self-medicate. We're pretty good here at identifying what it is that is causing the person to self-medicate. It's not all about attitude. It is a physical, chemical breakdown in the body that's causing them to self-medicate. And here we really are trying to resolve that and go after it. And my passion, of course, is to get everybody off drugs. As a chiropractor, it's something that's been my lifelong thing, is to help people get off drugs, not only street drugs, but pharmaceutical drugs as well. I do what I do because I have a passion to help people. It's what I do. It's what I do every day. I feel like what I was born to do. And as a chiropractor, we're not allowed to use drugs. I would never want to use drugs to begin with, certainly on my patients. And the more I can help people get off drugs and really live a complete, full, normal lifestyle to 100% of their capacity, the happier it makes me feel. We're blessed here with an incredible staff at Transformations. Not only does the staff compassionate, for the clients, but they all function at a high level. Everybody's helping each other out. There's a tremendous love concept here that I don't think you see in any other facilities, especially with this number of employees. Rarely do you see any kind of strife going on. It's more, how can I help you? How can I help you do a better job? How can we help this client do better? Like I said, it's a huge love concept here that we have and that we strive for. And I think the executive team, should be recognized for that.